Starr Midday News. Coming up in the bulletin, former director of the Ghana School of Law and private legal practitioner Ansah Asare describes as unconvincing and unjustifiable requests by the Chief Justice for additional judges at the Supreme Court. He's accusing the president of packing the court to serve the interest of the governing NPP. We'll bring you details of that. Also in the bulletin, National Association of Graduate Teachers calls for suspension of free SHS bill to allow for broader consultation. And later on, Ghana Education Service introduces self-posting system for the first batch of the 2022 teachers.
Education who applied for the recruitment via the GES promotions platform and satisfied all the requirements should visit the portal from 5th July to 31st July to select their preferred region, district and school.
Details of these stories and many more, including sports, all coming up in the next 30 minutes. Stay tuned in. Star News is coming to you live on Ultimate 106.9 FM in Kumasi, Empire 102.7 FM in Takrady, Cool 103.5 FM in Ho, Rage and Might FM in Tamale, Somali FM in Wa, My Star Radio in the USA. Also live on Facebook on Star 103.5 FM and on starfm.com.gh around the world. This is Star 103.5 FM. You're welcome once again to the Starr Midday News on Star 103.5 FM here in Accra. My name is Naa Dedei Tettey. To the details of our stories now, and former director of the Ghana School of Law and private legal practitioner Ansah Asare has described as unconvincing and unjustifiable the requests by the Chief Justice for additional justices at the Supreme Court. The Chief Justice, Gertrude Arabai-Saba Tokonu, in a recent letter to President Akufo-Addo, proposed the appointment of 5 more judges to the Supreme Court to make the number 20. Now, she explained that the move is to augment the numbers considering the huge workload that the current number at the Supreme Court has to deal with. Now, speaking on the Morning Star with Francis Aban, the former Ghana School of Law director criticized the move, arguing that the move is an attempt by the president to pack the courts to favor the governing NPP should the December elections not go in the party's favor.
The Chief Justice, by herself, has no power to increase the number. So I would like to believe that the request emanated from the Judicial Council, of which the Chief Justice is chair. But having said that, I don't think the reasons assigned by the Lord Chief Justice are convincing. I would like to believe that the number keeps increasing. This year is an election year, and the objective conditions
Star
for the exam project
103.5
that it will be
FM.
either way. I should like to believe that any increase in the number of justices of the Supreme Court is an attempt to pack the court should the election go against the NPP, and therefore should there be a challenge, then the number to be drawn from, and I believe, and stand to correction, that the panel will be drawn from the favorites. Mind you, those who are likely to be elevated must be favorites of one or the other person in power. I know that the GDA has issued a statement that in the court there's no NDC or NPP, but common sense will tell us that each time an incumbent government makes an appointment, the appointees sock up to government. So we shouldn't run away from this, objective fact. It is an attempt to pack the court in the December or January or March, when electoral petitions are being judicially considered by the apex court.
You had the former director of the Ghana School of Law and private legal practitioner Ansah Asare there. Well, another private legal practitioner, Justice Abdullahi, questioned the timing of the requests of the Chief Justice.
My position remains the same, that having an increased number of at most 27 at the Supreme Court is the best way of dealing with our problem. However, if you're asking me about the timing of elevating other judges to the Supreme Court, I'll completely agree that the timing is completely wrong, particularly when we have an unbridled petition by the current government to appoint justices to the Supreme Court. In fact, the hierarchy of the court in general, not just the Supreme Court. It's kind of an unchecked authority or power of the current system of getting a lot of people there. So legally, they may be right, but if you look closely, you can see the mischief behind the continuous appointment of persons to the Supreme Court. And as my senior Ansah pointed out, it then feeds into the mind of the onlooker that something mischievous is intended to be achieved, politically or otherwise. And that is not what we need as a country.
What about the propriety of the Chief Justice suggesting these nominees to the President?
It's a bit of a misnomer to me. It's a misnomer. It's a complete departure from what we are used to. Either to the proposal would rather come from the President. It goes after all the consultations, and then it goes to the Judicial Council, where the deliberations will take place, and then the reference is made to Parliament after the approval is sought and obtained, and then Parliament then does its vetting. But this appears to be a different approach, and I've read the social media report, and I've seen the authorities cited by that letter, and I'm still not convinced that it's the appropriate thing to do.
You had the private legal practitioner, Justice Abdullahi. He is, however, making a case for there to be more judges in general, as well as lawyers, to man the various courts and the various attorney generals that we have in the country.
In fairness, Francis, I'll say that we don't just need Supreme Court justices. We need several personnel within the entire chain of our adjudication body, and indeed legal practitioners. We fall short of all these personnel right from the lowest level. The courts are all inundated because of lack of personnel, so we do not have enough lawyers, first of all, particularly for the state agencies. The Attorney General's office is highly understaffed, particularly within the regions level. So if you ask me whether there is a need for more justices at the Supreme Court, my answer is an affirmative yes. But that answer also extends to other levels of the court, as I've indicated earlier, from the lowest to the Supreme Court. We need more people there. And as I said, we need more lawyers. And we are training a lot of lawyers as these days. We have a lot of lawyers around.
You had the private legal practitioner, Justice Abdullahi. This is still the Starr Midday News on Starr 103.5 FM. Let's now switch our attention to issues relating to education, because the National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAT, has urged the Minister for Education to suspend the presentation of the Free SHS Bill to Parliament to allow for broader consultation. According to NAGRAT, none of the teacher unions have been engaged on the proposal. The association also describes as unfortunate the indication from the Minister of Education, Dr. Yao Osei Educhum, to decouple junior high school from the primary school and also cancel basic education certificate examination as a precondition for gaining admission to senior high school. Let's go over the telephone line and speak to the General Secretary of NAGRAT, Michael Ayura Boya. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us here on the Starr Midday News.
I'll be with you soon. I'm just answering the call. Okay. Hello.
Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us on the Starr Midday News.
You're welcome, madam.
All right.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Now, you say that none of the teacher unions have been engaged at all on such a crucial bill as such as the Free SHS Bill?
True.
how worrying do you find that?
Sorry?
How worrying do you find that?
Very, very, very worried, madam. Very, very worried. The inception of this free senior high school, the teachers are the ones who have been at the receiving end. We have sacrificed so much for this system. And if there is anything to legislate about this system, if there's anything to discuss about this system, it's the teachers who must be listened to first. It surprises us, and we are worried that there can be a bill seeking to legislate free senior high school, no matter what the content may be. Without prejudice to the content of the bill, we ought to have been in the picture, consulted. Let's even discuss what the needs are in seeking that demand legislation, and then we can discuss the content as well. This hasn't happened. And indeed, we are very worried. We must say that we are worried.
Now, you say that it is unfortunate that there are plans to decouple junior high school from primary school and also cancel BUCE as a precondition for gaining admission to the senior high school. Let's start off first of all with the decoupling of junior high school from primary school. What do you think is wrong with that proposal?
If there is nothing wrong, this is a system that we are practicing. This is already in law. A law that we contributed in making it come to be. If you ought to change it, they should be the ones telling us why there is a need to change it. Does it have implication for the teacher? If yes, we ought to be consulted. What is the way forward? So for us, it is not even about the merits and demerits of the changes that they are seeking to make. The whole concept of even making a law about free senior high school without the input of major stakeholders like the teachers is worrying.
What kind of indication does that send you?
Government care less about us. The ministry thinks that we do not have anything to offer. And it's quite unfortunate for them to think like that. Because why would major stakeholders like us not be involved, not be consulted, even not in the known, that there are issues that we need to legislate? Why would it take an announcement by the minister to a newspaper that the bill is on its way to cabinet? It shows that's a kind of, with contempt. They treat us with contempt. It's quite unfortunate.
And beyond this communique that you put out in relation to this, have the associations, or let me be specific with NAGRAT, has NAGRAT communicated this discontent to the ministry?
Well, this is what we have just done. We are passing it through your esteemed forum to let them know that the contempt with which they have treated us, this is the response we can give them. That we have not been part, the people of Ghana know we have not been part, and therefore, when it comes to implementation, they should not count on us.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for your time. We are grateful for your time.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
You had to speak to the General Secretary of the National Association of Graduate Teachers, Michael Ayura Boya. This is still the Starr Midday News on Star 103.5 FM. We will remain with issues relating to education. The Director General of the Ghana Education Service, Dr. Eric Nkansa, has announced that the recruitment for the first batch of the 2022 degree holders from colleges of education into various basic schools in the country will be done online. Well, earlier this year, the Ghana Education Service received clearance from the Finance Ministry to recruit the 2022 batch of trained teachers who graduated from the public colleges of education across the country. At a press engagement by the service, Director General of the GES, Dr. Eric Nkansa, disclosed that the self-posting system has been introduced to allow the 12,784 newly recruited teachers select their preferred region, district, and school. Have a listen to him.
public colleges of education who applied for the recruitment via the GES promotions platform and satisfied all the requirements should visit the portal from 5th July to 31st July to select their preferred region, district, and school. The self-posting recruitment model has the benefit of getting the newly trained teachers to be posted to regions where language will not be a barrier. Thus, they can speak the local language wherever they choose to teach. And we know that would create a very effective teaching and learning environment. In addition, ladies and gentlemen, the teachers get to also select schools that are close to families and subsequently enjoy the economic support that is so needed. The steps that they need to follow to be able to access the platform and also to select the school of their choice is that one, they visit the GES promotions platform, the same platform they use in the application. They go back there, enter their college index number to verify their qualification.
You heard there the Director General of the Ghana Education Service, Dr. Eric Nkansa, addressing the press earlier. Let's return to our earlier story in relation to the reactions that have come in the aftermath of the recent request by the Chief Justice Gertrude Araba Isaba Tokonu to President Akufo-Addo, asking that 5 additional judges be appointed to the Supreme Court to augment the numbers there because of the workload they have to deal with. Well, the largest opposition party, the NDC, has also waded into this brouhaha, describing the proposal by the Chief Justice as an attempt to undermine the country's democracy. Let's go over the telephone line and speak to Emmanuel Biko. He is at the press briefing by the NDC. Emmanuel, so the NDC says this is an attempt to undermine the country's democracy. In what way exactly is appointing 5 additional judges to the Supreme Court an attempt to undermine the country's democracy?
Well, now, General Secretary of the NPP, Fifi Kwete, makes the case that under the 4th Republican Constitution, it appears that President Akufo-Addo has already made 15 appointments, which is more than the 7 that President Atta Mills and former President John Dramani Mahama made. And they feel that it's an attempt to pack the bench to ensure that when issues come before the bench, the governing party gets a favorable ruling. The party says that they are privy to a meeting that took place between the Judicial Council and Attorney General, where the Judicial Council even indicated that the timing is wrong because we are in an election year and perception is everything. Even if the persons mentioned are qualified and care is not taken, it could create a wrong signal, which could undermine the country's democracy.
And then there are some accusations they are leveling against the Chief Justice. What exactly have they been saying?
Well, the party claims that some judges who give verdicts that doesn't go that are contrary to expectations of government are victimized. According to the NDC, they use administrative measures, or administrative measures are used to victimize these judges, and it includes transfer or sidestepping them when there are appointments available. They claim that even with the 5 names that have been put forward, they are not the most senior most judges. They feel that there are others on the bench who, even if there's a need to have new judges on the bench, should be given the law. They think that currently judges whose verdicts go contrary to expectation of the system are sidestepped in these appointments. So they feel that the system is using these appointments as a means to control judges.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel Bikpo, bringing us up to speed with that press briefing by the NDC in relation to the very first story we brought to you, which is the various reactions that have come in the wake of the request by the Chief Justice for additional judges to be appointed to the Supreme Court. Yesterday at the hearing of the LGBTQI plus case, she explained that it's to ensure that the workload that the court is facing at the moment is managed properly with the additional numbers. Let's hear from Fifi Abikwiti, who addressed the press a while ago.
To write to President Akufo-Addo, requesting for this appointment and seeking a post-facto ratification from the Judicial Council. The Chief Justice sought to turn the Council into a mere rubber stamp. Nowhere in the Constitution is the Chief Justice named as the one to recommend persons to the President for appointment to the Supreme Court. We wish to state, without any equivocation, that the Chief Justice's letter is illegal and of no effect. Her actions have completely turned the due process on its head and compromised her independence as the head of the judiciary. We are concerned about a worrying pattern which irresistibly suggests that the President is appointing only loyalists of his party to this court to have control of the judiciary and escape post-regime accountability. It is also very clear that the President is packing the courts ahead of the impending presidential and parliamentary elections with judges who are sympathetic to his party. Such deliberate politicization and bastardization of independent institutions of state, including the judiciary, will negatively impact the peace and stability of our country. It is trite knowledge that without a fair and impartial judiciary, democracy and constitutionalism will suffer. That is why this must be an issue of huge national concern, as it adds to the many other issues that already pose big threats to the peace and stability of our democracy.
You heard there the General Secretary of the Opposition NDC, Fifi Fiavi Kwete, speaking at that press briefing a while ago. Well, he has equally served notice that the party is ready to take up or take on the president should he refuse to heed to that opposition by the Judicial Council to that request made by the Chief Justice. This is still the Starr Midday News on Star 103.5 FM. Let's switch our attention to things relating to Parliament. Well, a former Deputy Trades Minister and MP for Cape Coast South, George Kweku Ricketts-Hagen, has described the Minister of Trade and Industry, Katie Hammond, as a disaster. Now, it follows yesterday's banter in Parliament with the Speaker, Alban Kinsford Bagbin, after he advised that the controversial LI on cement price regulation be withdrawn. After the former minority leader Haruna Idris raised issues of constitutionality with the LI and the Ghana Standards Authority Act 2022, Act 1078, Section 80. Now, reacting to the development on G today, Kweku Ricketts-Hagen described Katie's reaction in Parliament as worrisome.
I don't think he's actually got a clue as to how to manage trade and industry activities in this country. And it is for that reason that I said I think he's been a disaster, you know, not as a person, but I'm talking about disaster in terms of his management of the Trade and Industry Ministry. Now, the issue, as you said, prices of cement are high, pretty much like everything. I mean, prices of tomatoes are high. So are we going to have an LI, you know, for tomatoes as well, be next? The issue with cement, obviously, if you look at something simple, should tell you what is going on there. And I know there are professionals within the Ministry of Trade and Industry who should be able to advise him. I mean, he doesn't need to know everything, but there are professionals, technocrats there who should be able to tell him. If the price of cement, say over the last 10 years, it's been going up basically astronomical in cedi terms. Now, when you look at the same cement prices, that is at each price point, say if it in the last 10 years, and you look at the exchange rate at that time and convert those prices to dollars, you realize that the price of cement in dollar terms has been pretty much a straight line.
Well, Deputy Minister of Sanitation and Water Resources, Alhaji Hamidu Chinya Isaaku, he is backing the LI on cement price regulation. He also spoke on G today.
I think that the Minister for Trade and his advisors will have to relook at it, because we should not make a law that cannot stand the test of time or that can be contested in court. and nullified. It belittles Parliament. I mean, you can't have 275 members of Parliament representing constituencies and a speaker and a whole gamut of staff. And we make a law, and in a very short period, it is found out that that law is to be an insult and a manner of our reputation.
You had the Deputy Sanitation Minister, Alhaji Amidu Isahaku Chinya there. Let's return to issues relating to politics. Quickly touch base with Musa Lansa. We understand that the National Executive Council of the governing New Patriotic Party will today meet the party's flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, regarding his choice of running mate ahead of the December general elections. Musa Lansa, we know that this meeting, unfortunately, we've lost Musa on the telephone. I will try and reconnect with him in relation to what we've been able to gather so far regarding this particular issue. But while we wait to connect, well, thankfully, we've been able to connect with Musa once again. Musa, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now, Dedei.
All right. So this meeting, as we know, it is expected to take place at 2 p.m.
Yes, please.
And what would be the...
Okay,
go ahead.
There are two meetings today. The National Executive Committee would have a meeting first. I think that's where the name for the running mate will be presented to them first. They would discuss it, and then whatever decision they take is given to the National Council, which is the second meeting. So National Executive Committee will meet at 2 p.m., which runs till 3 p.m. Then the expanded committee, which is the National Council, also comes in to conclude and then affirm whatever decision was taken by NEC. If after that, the General Secretary would then come and address the media on what exactly happened in the two meetings, especially with regards to the running mates of the flag bearer. So in the next few minutes, I had some conversations with some members of Parliament who are members of the National Council, and they said by 2 p.m. they will start moving from Parliament to the Alisa Hotel where the meeting is taking place for the final decisions on the running mate to be taken.
All right, thank you very much, Musa Lansa. They're bringing us the details as to what to expect at 2 p.m. when the National Executive Council of the NPP meets to decide the fate of the person, the flag bearer of the party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has chosen as his running mate in the person of Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh. Let's now bring you the very latest in the world of sports. And Jones Haji is here. Good afternoon to you, Jones. What's in sports?
All right, so good afternoon. And breaking news, Manchester United have confirmed that Erik ten Hag has signed a contract extension until June 2026. Now, reports earlier this summer suggested the 54-year-old Dutchman could be replaced at Old Trafford, but both he and the club have agreed to new terms for the next 2 years, he told the club's official website. Looking back at the past 2 years, we can reflect with pride on 2 trophies and many examples of progression from where we were when I joined. However, we must also be clear that there is still lots of work ahead to reach the levels that is expected of Manchester United. In my discussions with the club, we have found complete unity in our vision for reaching these goals, and we are all strongly committed to making that journey together. So now let's come back to the Black Stars of Ghana, and Ghana would find out its group for the 2025 AFCON in some few minutes, as the draw is today at 12:30 p.m. in South Africa. So Ghana is in Port 1 with the likes of Morocco, Senegal, Egypt, Cote d'Ivoire, Nigeria, Tunisia, Algeria, Cameroon, Mali, South Africa, and then DR Congo. So the draw is some 1 minute away. And then finally, the Black Queens of Ghana, ahead of their international friendly with Japan on Saturday, the 13th of July, have held their first training session today in Accra. And the Black Queens striker Milot Pokwa would be on the game today at 1 p.m. to talk about her career and how injury has affected her performance on the field of play. All right, that'll be all for sports. My name is Jones Ajit.
Thank you very much, Jones, with the very latest in the world of sports. And that'll be it for today's edition of the Starr Midday News on Star 103.5 FM. For more news, do log on to starfm.com.gh. My name is Naa Dedei Tettey. Have a good afternoon.
When I see the stars in the sky, I feel as though the heavens are calling. Oh, the way that they shine so bright, while the stars recite and they are never falling. Oh, it's the home of the stars.
You are tuned in to Starr FM.
When I see the stars in the sky, it's the home of the stars.
Starr FM 103.5.
Starr FM, Accra's solution to a stressful lifestyle.
One oh 103.5 Starr FM.
Yeah, yeah, uh. Sit back and let me do my thing. I know what time it is from the hands on my right wing. Every time I bust a rhyme, it remains forward to the core. Yeah. No rules from breaking the law. Things are working. That's what's in charge. Don't ever think about playing my entourage. A real money get this real legs whippers, friends whippers, land food whippers, party. This is my business.
One oh 103.5 Starr FM.
Nobody does it like we do. We are the best.